In a meadow full of flowers, there lived a little girl who was as lovely as the day was sunny. One day she went out into the fields to gather flowers to make her home more beautiful. That way I won't have to water them or weed them. And when I look at them, it will be like looking at beautiful flowers that never wilt. So she began collecting colorful pebbles, but no matter how many she brought home, her house still looked as bleak as before. She picked up all kinds of flowers, some with petals like satin and others with petals like lace. But no matter how beautiful they were, after a while they wilted and the house looked just as dreary as before. "Oh, poor worm," she said. "It must be very hard for you to move with so much weight on your back." The worm wriggled out from his hole and proudly presented her with a pocket full of rainbows. The worm explained, "When the sun shines through the morning dewdrops, they reflect the light just like a tiny mirror. And these are the most beautiful rainbows I've ever seen." "Where did you find these, my darling?" she asked. "A friend gave them to me," replied the little girl. "A friend indeed," said her mother, smiling. "You have made a very dear friend indeed." "What?" exclaimed the little girl. "Are you sure these are all for me?" The worm nodded his head and said, "Yes, I found them right outside my door, and I knew you would love them." And sure enough, the worm was carrying a heavy load for such a tiny creature. One day she thought to herself, "Why don't I pick up some brightly colored pebbles and arrange them in my garden?" She couldn't wait to show them to her mother. Then she had a wonderful idea. She took all the pebbles and made patterns on the ground with them. And what do you know? Her house looked much better. And remember the tiny worm who had given them to her. And that made her feel so happy that she could smile again. It almost looked like someone had sprinkled magic dust all around it. As she arranged the pebbles, she came across a tiny little worm struggling to move. "Oh, yes, please," replied the worm. And the little girl carefully took his load off his back. "Would you like me to carry your load for you?" she asked the worm. They searched high and low but couldn't find anything suitable. So the little girl broke off a piece of her bright red ribbon and said. The next day, the little girl went out into the fields again. At first she couldn't find any interesting stones, but then she remembered the tiny worm and thought to herself, "I wonder what he'll bring me if I visit him." Sure enough, when she reached his burrow, the worm greeted her with a big smile and said, "I have a gift for you. Something very rare and precious, and I found it right outside my door. Here, this will be perfect for you to carry." The worm was delighted with his new light load. In fact, it was so light that he could hardly believe it. "Now let's see if we can find something nice for you to carry instead," she said. He thanked the little girl and wriggled down into his burrow. The little girl thought to herself, "Oh, how extravagant. He probably means some huge diamond or emerald. Just wait till I see what it is." The little girl couldn't believe her eyes. How could something so beautiful just be lying outside a worm's burrow? The little girl thanked the worm and put the pocket full of rainbows in her apron. Then she skipped all the way home. When her mother saw the pocket full of rainbows, she was stunned. From that day on, whenever the little girl felt sad or lonely, she would look at her pocket full of rainbows.